let's talk about the biggest story, really, at the French Open thus far. Is it the last match we are going to see from Rafael Nadal? He lost in straight sets to Zverev. Just first of all, your thoughts on what you saw from him, what you felt when you were watching him, what you felt after the match. Just give me all the details.
He played great. He lost to Zverev, who's one of the favorites to win this tournament. Rafa, although it was straight sets, it was 3 competitive sets. He was in there. He was up a break in the second set. But at the end, when he lost, and we've still got that kind of question mark: is he going to play again? Is he not going to play again? Rafa doesn't know. As a fan, I want the closure. I kind of said that in the last podcast. So I honestly don't know. I'm not swaying one way or the other if he's going to play the Olympics or play another tennis match. I hope he does at this point. I think last week said I want him to finish it at the French Open, but because he doesn't know, I do want him to have that kind of final moment where he knows this is the last match of the last tournament. And I want the fans and the world to also have that moment where they know this is it. This is the last time we're going to watch him play.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listening to him doing the post-match interview, it was kind of like, what's he going to say? He did not get emotional, which I thought gave a bit of a telltale sign that this is not the end for him. I think also, Sam, I don't know about how you feel, but I felt like because he played so well, I mean, the dude was up a break serving for the second set. He was up a break in the third. I thought it was the best tennis without question that I've seen him play since he's come back from all these horrible injuries over the last couple of years. I think that was part of him during the match going, wait, I've still got something in me. I know I don't quite have it quite enough yet to beat, literally, as you said, one of the favorites to win the French Open in Zverev, having just won the tournament in Rome. He probably is. I mean, I already said it. I think he can get to the final. I don't think he's going to win because I think he's going to, I think he chokes like when it really counts. But but I just thought that Rafa was just outstanding in the match. And I think it gave him a little bit of life to think, okay, I can come back for the Olympics. He mentioned he would like to come back and play the Olympics in Paris, which is great news for all of us. But overall, I thought the level of tennis was fantastic from him.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think that level is going to beat 75, maybe 85% of the players in that French Open field. And so if he was going into that match thinking, oh, this is maybe the last one, maybe not, even though he lost, I did think it gave him some confidence to kind of say, you know what, there is a little more left in the tank. And moving forward 2 months to the Olympics, it's 2 out of 3 sets. It's a little bit easier for a guy in his position. So, and he also might want to go out and play some doubles with Alcaraz, who's not only one of his best friends, a fellow countryman. So that could be a special moment as well. So I do think that match, having lost it, sparked a little bit of a second win for him to keep going.
Yeah, because listen, we all said that there's no way he's beating Zverev. I mean, Zverev is just playing too well over 5 sets too. Rafa hasn't had enough tennis. And as you know, Sam, a lot more than I do, playing best of 5 is not only physically just so difficult, but mentally, you have to go. And when he got down those 2 sets to love, we saw him still try and fight. He was up a break again in the third. And then sadly, he couldn't get the job done. But you think with a little bit more tennis under his belt, he wins a match like that. And I would never have said that a week ago. So I think him going into Paris, like you said, being best of 3 sets, I'm going to say right now that if he stays healthy and he keeps putting the work in, I don't think he's going to play at Wimbledon. I think he probably will stay on the clay. I think it's better for his body, frankly, and his foot. I think he'll get enough tennis now. Hopefully he can play some practice matches against really good players. I mean, what are your thoughts about him maybe coming back in Paris and actually doing really quite well?
A little bit of it depends on the draw. Can he avoid playing Zverev, Alcaraz, Sinner, these guys in the first round? But if he gets a favorable draw, wins a couple matches, gets a little confidence, and like I said, it's 2 out of 3. No one wants to see Rafa on the clay. And I think Rafa, too, at the French Open, he lost to Zverev, who's a little bit of a villain, I think if he wants to go out, I personally don't think he wants that last match to be against Zverev. I think he would rather lose that last match to someone else. And at this point, I think the world and everyone wants him to be at the Olympics. It's back at Roland Garros. And we want to see one last little boost of excitement on the clay from him, which hopefully we get.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out a couple of things, and one of the things I put on my Instagram was when he did that great jump in the air and he pumped, big fist pump to his people. I was like, oh, I'm going to miss that so much, because the thing about Rafa is that for me, I don't know about you. I mean, it was probably a nightmare playing against him when he was doing it, but I always felt like every point mattered, and you saw the greatness of him with look at the people that were out there watching him play. I mean, Novak was out there, Alcaraz was out there, Iga Swiatek was out there. I mean, Alcaraz and Djokovic, I was surprised. I wasn't surprised to see Iga. She had just won. She said she wanted to go watch him. Iga's like his biggest fan, and he is her idol. Alcaraz, you probably thought was going to be out there, but I was surprised to see Novak out there. Were you?
I actually wasn't. I mean, there have been such amazing rivals, and I do think they're friends as well. And I think he's just showing respect to Rafa. Novak's in the same boat as the rest of us. He doesn't know if that's his last match or not. And if it was his last match, I think Novak would have regretted not going out there to watch one of his greatest rivals, if not his greatest rival over the years. And so I think it was a really kind of touching moment that Novak went out there and watched it. And we'll see if Nadal keeps playing and he's at the Olympics playing. I don't know if Novak's going to go out and watch him again. He's kind of now watched that final one, but it was really saying something that those three players were out there watching. It's a pretty special moment.
I think Novak was probably thinking, thank God it wasn't me out there first round because he's not playing that well. And he didn't look great today, but you probably think he was like, having nightmares about the amount of times that he's lost to Novak on that particular court. So listen, I'm just hoping he comes back in Paris. I'm hoping, like, you cannot imagine that we see him and Alcaraz playing doubles together. If you had a choice, Sam, of who would watch you in your last ever match, who would you want sitting there watching it?
I'm assuming we're talking tennis players. I'm not going to say the obvious and be like, I want Serena and Roger. I'd want all my friends. I'd want Steve Johnson, John Isner, the Bryan brothers, Marty Fish, James Blake, Andy Roddick. I just want all those guys in the box with me, all the guys that I was on the tour with for a decade, watching me, cheering me on. And that's how I'd want to go out. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I was trying to think about who I'd want, and you're right. That's exactly who I would want there as well. I would want all my friends on the tour that I've, had so much fun with, and they become our friends. And that's the thing, as you're out there 10, 15, 20 years, including juniors. And these are people that you get to know, and you're just so happy to see them again. Although I did play one match one time when Martina Navratilova was down one end of the court and Chris Evert was down the other. I kid you not, in Japan. And I was playing singles. And I thought to myself, are you kidding me right now? I am so nervous. And thank God it's one match that I actually won. But, but growing up, they were like two of my idols. So to have them sit watching me play a match.